Okay, we are live. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I hope everyone's had a very good Monday. Let's get into it. So plenty I want to get talking about tonight. We'll have a little look at some of the European Championship matches. Of course, we'll look at Joshua Zirkzee, but we'll begin with Jarrad Branthwaite. Now, this is a player I've been talking about for a long old time, guys. You guys know it. I've been talking about Branthwaite pretty much all season because I think that he could be one of the best options for United at centre back. Now, look, last week it did emerge that United had gone in and potentially agreed terms with Branthwaite himself early doors. Very exciting update that there one. And there has been talk of a bid that's come in as well from Manchester United. Seemingly, it's been rejected. I'm not surprised. It's a pretty low ball offer because it's about 35-40 million pounds, and Everton are in the position now where they need to sell. We're in a position where we need to buy. So I feel like a deal can be done here. I feel like a deal will get done at some point. And with Everton's bad finances at the moment, you got to think that by the end, perhaps, of the month, you could see some real movement on this one, and hopefully we will get that there in the next coming week. So I'm asking you guys in today's poll, let me know your thoughts on Branthwaite. Would he be your first choice centre back? Let me know. Simple yes, no, or unsure as well, just if anyone is on the fence about Jarrad Branthwaite potentially coming in to Manchester United. Let me know your thoughts down below, guys. Very keen to know what you guys are thinking about Branthwaite at this moment in time. Now, there is some stories coming out tonight that I wouldn't mind having a little look at. First and foremost, it comes from Sky Sports. Now, look, Sky Sports, once a very reputable source and once a very good source of information out there. And yeah, we know the story with Sky Sports now. They're usually slow on things. They're usually fairly unreliable, but they'll say United are discussing whether to go back in for Branthwaite. I think they will. They've not put the groundwork in. They haven't decided to agree terms and make an opening offer that probably gets rejected if we weren't going to actually pull the trigger and really go for this transfer. You know, I would be surprised if we didn't. I guess if we're looking at it from that point of view, then none of those options out there suit what we've got, and that's why I think we're going with Branthwaite, because you can't play right centre back, you can play left centre back. Very two-footed player. Look, they're saying United are discussing whether to go back in. It's understood if Everton don't reduce their asking price of about 70 million, United will move on to other targets. Those include Mark Gehi. He's okay. He's not really what we need. Lenny Euro, I'm a big fan of, but he's not the same profile as Jarrad Branthwaite, so it makes more sense to sign both personally. Or Jean-Claude Todibo. Again, you know, we're lacking physicality in our backline. We're lacking physicality in terms of our defenders and our box defenders, and someone who can win headers as well. Branthwaite, very quick player, can play in the halfway line and really cover in behind very effectively. And I think, you know, if we don't pull the trigger, I think it's a big miss, personally. I really do. I've got Milan down there. Good to see you, buddy. Jeremy Sims says, yes, first choice, but wouldn't be devastated if we walked away. Look, I think he's the right guy to go in for. There were stories that came out earlier on, United thinking about making a £60 million offer. I think that's what it gets done for, to be honest, if we go in for that there kind of price range. Now, whether or not that happens, you know, that remains to be seen, but I'm very confident that this is not the last we'll hear of Jarrad Branthwaite to Manchester United in this upcoming window. I'm pretty confident that he will end up potentially a Manchester United player, and I think all signs kind of point towards it. We know Everton are very low in cash. We know their finances are in a bad position right now, and they're going to have to make sales, and they're going to have to sell some of their big players. And the two most marketable players for Everton, the two players who will garner the most in terms of transfer fees, are Branthwaite and Onana. It makes there's absolutely no reason why both of those players won't be leaving Everton, and you know, it really is starting to add up, at least in my head. You know, you're talking Aston Villa being interested in Onana. You're talking Arsenal being interested in Onana. I think we should be going after him as well. I think he's a very good player, but I think Branthwaite is seemingly first choice, and I think when we look at what we need most at the moment, it's going to be centre-backs, and we need a good few centre-backs brought in this upcoming window. In terms of one centre-back, I can give you a little bit of news tonight, guys. Does look like Johnny Evans has agreed a one-year extension to his Manchester United stay. That's coming in from Pete O'Boyle, so let's just keep an eye on that one. Maybe not the best source of information, but we will no doubt keep an eye out on that there one. And I think that Johnny Evans is probably going to stay on. I don't think we're going to sign three centre-backs in one window. I do think that he is potentially a player who will be kept on and hopefully used in the intended role that he was signed for last summer on a free. You know, to be the absolute last resort. You know, if you've got Evans and Kampuala as kind of your reserve defenders, you've got Martinez. So if you bring in Tadibo and you bring in Branthwaite, then there's two centre backs who can start. You've got Lissandro Martinez who can start. That's three. You've got two more in reserve. Have to think one of Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof are going to step. Probably Maguire, I think. So I think we'll make the move for him, to be honest. And that certainly does all start to add up for me anyway. Look, there's a big price difference at the minute. We know United don't want to be overspending. We know we're going to try to be difficult to deal with in the market and try to drive down the prices. We've had a long history over the last 10-15 years of massively overpaying for players. We want to get that reputation down and to be seen under this new regime as good negotiators, someone who gets good deals done for their transfer targets, and hopefully we can get that done in the next couple of weeks with Jarrad Branthwaite. But very interesting, very good player. Can play right centre back, can play left centre back. He's very two-footed, very quick as well. Top 6 in terms of his duels. It's a big risk. It's a big punt to take on a player like Branthwaite, but I think he's worth it, and I think he's a player who will continue to grow and develop. And he's so young as well, only 22 years old. Right kind of age, right kind of profile. Let's see if we can get this deal done. And I guess that kind of takes us on to the next one, and we're talking deals done. We want to get looking at Joshua Zirkzee, a player who will catch the eye for the Netherlands if he gets game time in the European Championships, and that's going to be something definitely to keep an eye out for. I'm sure you guys are well familiar with Zirkzee at this point. Maybe not the most prolific of striker, but he's a very good facilitator of play. He is a good finisher. Maybe didn't quite get the opportunities he needed last year for Bologna, but certainly he could be a very interesting dynamic to have. He offers something really different to Hojlund. He kind of reminds me of how Anthony Martial plays. When Martial was doing well for those couple of seasons under Ollie, he will link up the play, he will bring others in, and that gets the best out of Rashford, that gets the best out of Garnacho probably, and your other wide players as well, maybe your Amad Diallos or whoever you look to bring in. And I think just having more options and more different profiles, it's really going to help us as well, because Hojlund has his strengths, he has his weaknesses, and you know, we want to have players who and a team capable of different things. I have Lucky Singh down there, Jadon Sancho ready for contact. I think Sancho will be gone, but don't worry. I think that's going to be done pretty soon, to be honest, looking at everything that's going on. Ten Hag staying is surely the end of Jadon Sancho, so I think that's going to be pretty much done and dusted there. Bart says, looks like Elise will go to Chelsea. How on earth are they allowed to sign players after spending $1 billion in the last year and a half? Yeah, they're just finding ways around it, man. They've been selling themselves hotels. Chelsea have owned hotels and sold them for extortionate prices to Todd Bowley. You know, sooner or later, this is going to probably catch up in Chelsea. You have to think at some point, but they're going in for another big window. They improved a lot towards the end of last season, so maybe they're a team to watch out for. Big ups to Man Utd. What are Hojlund's weaknesses? I think some of his run selection is quite poor. I think his hold-up play at times can be poor, and for a big guy, 6'4", really quick, strong build, you know, you want to see him be more physically dominant and win more free kicks, get us up the pitch, be a sticking point. And he did it a couple of times last season, and I think a cameo we all remember very well was the FA Cup final. He did some of that. He drove up the pitch, he won free kicks, he helped take the sting out of the game. It's very important. Look at what Harry Kane did last night for England. Not his best performance by any means, but he won free kicks when they're under pressure. He used his body, used his experience, and you know, that's kind of what we want to see from Hojlund. You know, you watch him yesterday for Denmark in the European Championships. It's very similar to what we've seen for United, and I know that he has lacked a lot of service at times. Of course he has, but I think as well what he does sometimes lack is that little bit of killer instinct, that little bit of aggression, and I think he's a confidence player. I think once he scores a goal or two, you know, in consecutive matches, he starts to look really good. His best run was that run from Aston Villa on Boxing Day, right up until he got a small injury, and you know, it took him a while to get back into the swing of things after that. But that's the kind of striker I want to see from Hojlund. You know, that's the kind of play. So whether or not he works better with another player alongside him, maybe like a Zirkzee, maybe he could try a front two, or just try to play to his strengths more as well. You know, that's something I don't think we did, and that's, you know, that's key for a lot of footballing. A lot of footballing decisions, you've got to try really strengthen and play towards your players' strong points as well. Don't think we always did that with Hojlund. We didn't give him space to run into. We didn't give him the ball so he could drive with it. He's a good carrier. He's a quick player. You know, we didn't really get to say that enough. And he did score the same goal quite a few times. Scored against Tottenham, scored against Aston Villa. I think he scored it against Brighton towards the end of the season. You know, those when he drops the shoulder, he kind of like bursts on his right foot and he shoots across the goal. Those I've noticed that a few times he's done that exact kind of move, and it's good. That's what you want to see from your striker. But let's get him into those positions to do it more often. You know, misprofiling is a killer for a lot of players, and just because Hojlund has that build doesn't mean that he is going to be a hold-up striker, maybe in the sense of like a Mikel Antonio or like someone like that, maybe like a Lukaku type, maybe. That's what I think he's got to work towards. You know, getting onto the ball, trying to bring others in, and just getting more involved in the play. You know, he does get isolated. A lot of it's our fault for not finding him, but he himself can improve on that, in my opinion. So it swings both ways. You know, it does. It does. Bart said, what's a realistic salary cap for a club like United? Salary cap is an interesting one at the minute, buddy, because we're kind of having a big reset on it. Varane going, Martial going are two really big wages off the books. If Casemiro goes, that's another massive wage off the books. Sancho goes, that's another big wage off the books. You know, you're talking saving £2 million a week on your salaries by getting rid of 4 players. That's kind of the levels you're talking about at this point. So salary caps, you know, we want to try drive the prices down, I guess. You know, it's kind of the opposite, because when you look at Arsenal, one thing Arsenal are doing is offering industry-leading salaries for coaches, for staff, and for players as well. They're going big on the salaries, trying to attract the top people into the jobs. But I think what United want to do, I think we've kind of been burned a little bit by offering these massive deals out to players who just don't have the longevity, don't have the performance to back it up, maybe. And I think that's going to be the big thing for us moving forward. Is, you know, we should be spending money. We need to be spending money, and sometimes you gotta go blow the bank on a Jarrad Branthwaite. Sometimes you gotta go big on a striker, or you gotta go and offer a big wage to get the exact right person in as well. But I think at the moment, you know, this is baby steps. This is the start of a process. Erik ten Hag, as we know, in talks with Ineos for a new contract with different responsibilities, different duties, different remits of his job that will hopefully be done pretty soon. They've opted to stay with ten Hag, so let's just see how that one fares out. But I think at the minute, you know, we got to lay the foundations down. And I think that's going to be absolutely key for us. You know, we're starting from level 0. We've got to build at the bottom. We've got to raise the floor of where Man United is. You know, you look at your Liverpools, your Arsenals, your Man Cities. Minimum for them in a bad season is probably top 4. It's probably finished in Champions League. You know, a bad season for United last year was finishing 8th, because our flooring, the minimum level we can achieve by doing our worst, just it's too low really to compete. So unless we have a good season, we're not going to get up there. I have Rajat down there. Want someone like Euro, Ignacio, or Scalvini, not Branthwaite as much. I think Branthwaite's fantastic. Like, I think a lot of us maybe have been scarred by bad purchases domestically in the past, and a lot of us look towards those summers under Ollie, getting Wan-Bissaka, Dan James, Harry Maguire. And there does seem to be a weird anti-English sentiment amongst our fan base, and I just think Branthwaite's a really good player, and I think he's better than most of them. I think Euro's the exception, but you're looking at a different type of defender there for me in Lenny Euro compared to what you would get from Jarrad Branthwaite. But an interesting one nonetheless anyway. Now, I have some thoughts coming in. Let me see what you guys are saying. Matata said, ask about calculus. Okay. Irfan is on there. EPL games live in Sky Sports. Yeah, there'll be games like on tonight as well. We've got France, Austria coming up pretty soon. That'll be a good one. Carpi is down there. England were shocking last night. Only the second half. How did Southgate just even considered the joke as a bloke? Yeah, he is like, you know, I just don't think Southgate's that guy. And look, I think he made some right decisions last night. Don't get it twisted. I think some of his subs were what they needed to be. I was skeptical of seeing Gallagher come on. I think that worked out quite well. I think Kobbie Manu helped to bring something to them as well. But, you know, the balance isn't there in that England team. No left footers on the pitch last night hurt them a lot, especially on that left-hand side with Foden and Trippier basically non-existent. Bellingham, once he scored, he was all over the pitch, wasn't really holding his position well enough. And I think if you compare the coaching level and the level of technique that you saw from Germany on Friday night compared to what you've seen from England, it's worlds apart at this moment in time. And I think Germany are definitely a team to watch out for in this tournament. Big ups to Bath Time. Who's Zirkzee? Zirkzee's a Dutch striker currently playing for Bologna. He was at Bayern Munich previous to that. Good player. He's not really like he's not an overly prolific striker, but he's a very smart player in terms of the positions he picks up. He does bring others into play. He would be a type that maybe gets more out of what we've got if you're looking at your Rashfords or your Garnachos. Those kind of players who could do with someone to make the ball stick at the top end of the pitch, bring others into play, and maybe that's a different dynamic that we need. And it's something that I think Martial did quite well. And, historically looking back, your best performances in terms of seasons from United's forward line in recent years have come with Martial up front, because he can bring others into play and he does have that ability in and around the penalty box. And I think Zirkzee is a similar type player to that as well. Rejad, you're was more like Saliba than Varane. Kind of a bit of both. Yeah, I think maybe he's different in a lot of ways, but his career really does shadow that of Rafael Varane. He might end up going like to Real Madrid, and that's what the big talks are at the moment with Lenny Yoro, and it does look like that could be the case, and it could be a bad player to miss out on. I think he's really, really talented, but we're gonna find out. Good day to Jarl, Greenwood to Valencia, Pellistri to Flamengo, and Lindelof to Fenerbahce. Evans is staying another year. Big news there. Yeah, it is big news there. Evans staying on. I'm not surprised. I would be very surprised if we signed 3 centre backs in this window. So I think, yeah, he was always kind of likely to stay, in my opinion. But let's just see how it plays out. Maybe we'll actually play, the role that we actually signed him for in the first place. To be that there, absolute last gap of a defender. Just if everybody else is unavailable, you can put Evans in there and he'll do a job for you or whatever. Let me see. Bath time is down there. In terms of the fact we got Phil Jones instead of Rajat and Varane, spent a decade at Real Madrid. Yeah. Carpy's down there. He brought on Bowen over Palmer as a joke. I think he just wanted runners. I think you get more running out of Jarrad Bowen than maybe you do out of Cole Palmer. But in my opinion, the lack of dynamics in that England team is really going to kill them. Like everybody kind of wants to play a free role. Everybody wants to come towards the ball. Now, you get up with Saka. He can run in behind. Maybe not what he always wants to do. He does want to receive the ball in and around the penalty box and then, explode on that right-hand channel. But, to me, I think they should have took a Rashford, or they should have took a Grealish, or they should have played an Anthony Gordon, or I don't know, maybe even Watkins or someone on the wing. Just someone to offer that threat in behind, someone to hold the width and hold their position. I think that's where England struggled last night. A lot of it was positional issues, and once you saw Gallagher come on, once Manu came on, it got a bit better for England, but we'll find out. Rajat said, won't Johnny Evans hurt Kambuala's development? No, not really. Kambuala played plenty this season, from when he actually came in. He had runs in the team, and Evans is pretty injury prone as it is. I'm not too bothered about that, to be honest. Let me see. Stephanie's down there. Good to see you, Steph. Thanks for joining in with us. What have I got? White Trent midfield. Yeah, Trent midfield's just a social media experiment because he can ping a ball, he can play a long pass, but that's not really his game. In the same sense that Wan-Bissaka can tackle doesn't mean you put him at centre back just because he can tackle, or that Anthony should play left back because he's got a left foot. That's... Yeah, you're kind of taking him out of his best position to put him into midfield, and it just didn't work. He, in terms of receiving the ball, his body shape, his positioning, finding himself in trouble quite often, taking touches and risks in areas you don't really want to. And I don't blame him either. It's not his fault. He's a right back that can come inside. But if you're gonna do it, I think Bath Time was telling me last night. If you're gonna do that, put a midfielder right back if you're going to invert, and at least then you get the natural the natural positioning in midfield. That's what you want to see. Anyways, Bath Time down there. Palmer, you bring on to get a goal. Bowen, you get to see out a game. Yeah. I'm critical of Southgate, but I think he got it right with Bowen, and Bowen had some important. He won some free kicks up the pitch. He had a couple of important blocks. He's a hard-working player. So find out. You all said, I guess Gehi just got priced out of range for 65 million. Yeah, look, he's good, but I mean, I'm not paying that much for Mark Gehi. I think we lack enough physicality as it is, and that's why I would prefer to go for Branthwaite, to be honest. Carpe would send Kambuala on loan. maybe not a bad idea. Maybe not a bad idea. I'm sure that he would give minutes there. If Branthwaite does leave, I'm trying to even think of Everton defenders. I think you got Tarkowski. Maybe that's about it. Steph says 20 likes. Yeah, guys, big ups for that. Why not send someone experienced like Ta? I don't think it really comes down to experience. I think it comes down to how well you can play the position, and you have to, number one, you have to complement what's already there. You have to improve upon what we're missing. You have to be able to play in the kind of direction that we want to take the team as well. And I think Ta is a good defender, but he wouldn't be my first choice. I'm not too sure what he's like in terms of playing higher up the pitch, because that has to be the idea of what we're doing next. Bath Time telling us it's Ralph Rangnick's Austria in 45 minutes. Yeah, that's a big one, guys. We'll be knocking off in time for that match, don't worry. How about Arin? What Marin are we talking about here? I feel like the only Marin I can think of is Marco Marin, and I know he's at Chelsea under contract for like 10 years and never played. Rajat Hussein Rajat, sorry. Bart says, play Trent as a goalkeeper when England are trailing in the dying minutes. He can ping a ball. Well, it's funny you say that, Bart, because we had Jose Mourinho on a few weeks ago saying that he feels that's going to be the next thing that the manager tries, is if you're a goal down, bringing a midfielder on and putting him in for goal so he can sit in the halfway line and put balls up the pitch into the penalty box. So maybe, who knows, maybe you're ahead of the times. Anyway, on my poll tonight, been asking you guys, would Branthwaite be your first choice? 69% say yes. We have 17 going for no and 14 for unsure. Batham talking... He's talking about his hatred of the Red Bull clubs. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of multi-club models, for the sake of the game. I see the benefits. You make no mistake about it. I see the benefits, and if any of us do keep a hold of Nice, which there was talk about them selling a few weeks ago, if they choose to keep Nice on, then you got a project there. But it's not good for Nice if we're taking their best players off them for cheaper prices than what's been asked, and we're just loading out players to get experience with them. That kind of limits what Nice can do as a football club as well. Big ups to Jordy. How's the international break going? Yeah, I'm enjoying it, man. Some decent matches today. What we had earlier? We had Romania beating Ukraine 3-0. We had Belgium getting beat there by Slovakia. I seen a couple of goals disallowed by Lukaku. That's a kind of a crazy one there as well. I think VAR took 2 goals off him. But yeah, I mean, we got 22 likes in today's stream, guys. Big ups for that there one. Really do appreciate all the support in that sense. And anyway, let me just double check a couple of things. Was there something here? No, there wasn't. There we go. There was some other stories I did want to cover as well. Maybe we'll move on to some Euro talk pretty soon. United have officially completed the signing of 16-year-old James Avery, and he is expected to feature in the academy predominantly next season. I think he's a fullback. I'm not too sure. I'll have to have a look at him in some more detail. I think he might be a right back, Australian right back, highly touted as well. So let's just see how he gets on over the next couple of years. Maybe one to watch out for. 16, it's not improbable that you see a debut maybe within the next 2 years or so, if he does really come on. And I think right back's an interesting area for us anyway. Do a Bruno watch along? I will do a watch along. When did Portugal play? Did they play tomorrow? Might not be able to do tomorrow, but I'll definitely do a couple of watch alongs this week, and I'll definitely be on the agenda at some point. You dig the Elden Ring DLC? I haven't played it yet, buddy. I'll have to get onto it. I've been kind of crazy with work and all this week. Can we take Manu, mate? Nah, you're good, buddy. I think we'll keep him for now. Anyways, got 37 votes. Almost 70% of you guys are saying that you would take Branthwaite. I think he's the logical sense. For me, he can play right centre back. He can play left centre back. He's very two-footed. I think that's definitely something to be watching out for as well. And I think it's a big miss really by Southgate to not take him. I'm surprised they didn't take him. I'm kind of surprised that French team as well tonight. That's an interesting looking midfield. Was it Kante, Rabiot, and Griezmann? They might get outworked really by that Austrian team. And N'Golo Kante back from Saudi Arabia, back into the starting lineup for France. That's an interesting one. Anyways, I'll move on. I have 24 likes coming from Steph as well. Bart said Limer is my favourite Austrian player. Yes, Bath time. I will come on Wednesday. Now, what is Wednesday? I'll say what it is, but I'll definitely come on Wednesday. Who's playing on Wednesday? Let me see. Be more than happy to come on. Wednesday we've got France, Austria tonight. That'll be an interesting one. Wednesday, Croatia, Albania. We've got Scotland, Switzerland, and Hungary, Germany. That's some decent enough matches there as well. You'll have to get Dora on as well. Bath time. Maybe Croatia will beat Albania, and that could be a fun show. Anyway, I see another one coming in. Want the Premier League to start tomorrow? No, I mean, I'm enjoying the break from it at the minute, and I think this will be a nice break because I'm sure you guys remember last summer. You know, it was every single day. It was a different Mason Mount update. It was a different Hojlund update. A different Donana update. You know, these were so many so many daily transfers, and you know, just getting constantly bombarded every single day with it. But I don't know. Like it's a nice break with the Euros, and maybe we'll see less of these nonsensical articles and stuff coming out. But let's just find out how it goes down over the next couple of days, over the next couple of weeks. Definitely still keep an eye out for your United transfer stuff as well. Maybe we'll move on to some Euro talk as well. Would I take Cristiano back? No, I'm not going to take him back at this point. That time, Rabiot starting for France. I'd love to take a gamble on him. Man, there's been talk about Rabiot coming on a free transfer for like the last 3 or 4 years, and Juventus just keep re-signing them to a new 1-year deal. Like, it's happened so much. It's really happened so much as well. I don't know though. I don't know. Like, I think there's a player in there in Rabiot, and he probably should have gone on to a lot more than what he could have done in the game as well. But he never quite got there as well. Rajad, Man won't want to get 8th to 10th. No, probably won't be. Steph says we're up to 25 likes. Guys, big ups for that. I think we got, 120 views. So 25 likes is really, really good. It's 1 for everybody dropping the likes. Do appreciate the support on that one. And look, guys, I think that's pretty much us through the United stuff anyway. Is there anything you guys want to talk about? Will we get talking about some of the European matches? Will we get talking about some of them? Because I feel like it's just the main talking point. I'm going to have to start doing some shows in this as well. But yeah, I mean, I was fairly unimpressed with Ukraine earlier. I think they maybe looked the weakest team in the tournament. Not that Romania were a lot better, but you know, they still got a 3-0 win. That still might be enough to get them out of the group stage in 3rd place, regardless of what happens. Belgium, again, you know, Belgium are a weird one. Belgium come into every tournament, I don't know how, constantly ranked as the world #1 team because of the FIFA ratings or, you know, FIFA rankings, whatever it is, and they always flatter to the save. How that team with Hazard and De Bruyne and Lukaku, Kompany, Vertonghen, Alderweireld, Courtois, never went further than a semi-final in a tournament. I'll never know. You know, that was a really good team for a lot of years. What have I got? I have Rajat, Sesko, down Leipzig, not good. Yeah, I mean, Sesko is good, but I feel like he's probably too similar in a lot of ways to Hojlund. I think he's a more unpredictable player. You know, I've seen a good few long shots from him yesterday. Really rattled the bar as well. So some good play from Sesko, like, but I don't know though. I think Zirkzee would be my first choice because I just think if you have a player there who you can bring on, who's going to facilitate play, who's going to be a good player to hold on to the ball further up the pitch, drop deep, get others on the ball in good areas, look for the options, look for the passes. You know, that gives us a completely different profile than what we've got, and maybe that's the way you need to do it. You know, you got to have these balances. Look at England last night. I think they lack balance, and I think that might be their undoing in this tournament, to be honest. You know, a lot of individual quality, but you can't have Foden in a free role and Bellingham in a free role, Saka kind of in a free role, Harry Kane not sure if he's just to be an out-and-out poacher or if he's going to drop deep. You know, he was pretty disciplined last night. Rice, he naturally wants to go forward anyway. Some of his best performances for Arsenal this season were in the number 8 position with Jorginho behind him, you know, in the 6. Like, so, you know, England maybe going to be guilty of missing kind of trying to shoehorn too much talent into the one team and maybe not focusing on what you've got in terms of overall balance. But Jeremy says favourite food, probably pizza, buddy. Jarl said, there he is, Ranjik himself, first off the bus. Have you ever tried something you'd eat, Bart? Yeah, I've tried a lot of good stuff. Had a nice, like, lemon chicken earlier for dinner, right before I came on. It's actually really good. Um, favorite gym workout? Probably Pershta. Bit of chest, bit of triceps, bit of shoulders. Can't beat it. Matata only one full time draw. Yeah, yeah, that's good. You know, lots of goals in this tournament, and sometimes the Euros can be kind of tight, and you know, kind of like a tournament where you have a lot of 1-0s or whatever. But you know, you might still get that. It is still match day one, but it's an interesting one anyway. You know, a lot of the favorites coming out with big wins. You know, Germany picking up the win, Spain picking up a win, Italy winning, Netherlands winning, England winning, Belgium losing. Let's see what happens with France tomorrow. Well, tonight, and then of course we've got Portugal playing tomorrow as well. That'll be an interesting one. Be good to see them out. I'm expecting a big thing and a big performance from Bruno in this tournament. Really, really am, guys. Have I kept up with T20 World Cup? No, but I'm not a big fan of cricket, to be honest. Steph says, "Who do we sell first, and who do we sell before we sign?" I think first sale is going to be Greenwood, and that seems to be the way it's going. There was talk from Juventus coming in. Now there's talk of Valencia coming in as well. So I could definitely see that being the deal. Greenwood going to Valencia, 25 million. He had a good season in a pretty poor team for Getafe last year, so maybe he goes to Valencia and moves to Spain full time. There's talk of Juventus being interested in Jadon Sancho, maybe getting rid of Matthias Süle, which would be unbelievable. I would take that swap in the morning, to be honest. Happy about USA beating Pakistan. Had it from Nando as well. No, it wasn't a Nando's actually, but Bourne said Branthwaite is overrated. Probably another Maguire, big and slow. He's actually really, really quick. I think he is deceptively quick, and has played fullback a few times for Everton this year. So I think Branthwaite would be fantastic for us, to be honest. I think quality on the ball. He's 2-footed. He's really, really quick, really strong, covers the wide areas really well defensively, and these are all things we miss from our centre backs. You know, all of our centre backs, I would say, are fearful of getting dragged out into the wide areas. Branthwaite's very at home out there. I think that'll really help us, and he's the kind of player that's going to raise the physical flooring of the team, but he's also the kind of player that's going to raise the actual line that we play as well. You know, our defensive line will move further up with someone like Branthwaite in there, and maybe that gives us the option to have Onana maybe sweep up more, push higher up the pitch. We can press better. You know, defensively, I think that's going to be a key one. When I get Antonio Silva, he's a good player. I just think he's not physically strong enough, to be honest. But I hope he proves me wrong. I just think the price tag, you know, 100 million for Benfica, and it's the same with João Neves. Big fan of the player. I just can't justify 100 million euros being spent on from one player from Benfica. You know, I just think these are the kind of deals we need to stay clear of. Try pick them up earlier in their career. Try pick them up at a point where you won't have to pay £100 million when they've had a good season in the Portuguese league and played in the Champions League and got experience there. You know, stop feeding clubs like Benfica and Dortmund with that kind of money, and you know, move towards actually picking up these players before they become more household names, and all of a sudden, you know, you're blowing half your budget on them in a single window. That's what I think we've got to do. Smith is down there. Joshua Zirkzee, Danny Olmo, Leipzig, Xavi Simons, João Neves, Tadibo, Frimpong. Branthwaite must sign for Man United. Wouldn't be a bad summer. That, you know, it depends what you want to do with Frimpong, because he's not a right back. I think that's been well proven this season. He's mostly played right wing, and he played right wing for the Netherlands the other day as well. Really, you know, I think he's a good player. I think he comes up with important moments, and he could be an interesting option on the right wing. I don't know if we're going to go for him per se. It did look like, for all the world, that Elise would be the one that we'd be going for on that right-hand side. But it looks like we've been beaten to the punch by Chelsea. But we will find out. Nothing agreed just yet. If Victor Lindelof means, if he leaves Man United, it could mean the club will sign 2 centre-backs. Negotiations to sign Jarrad Branthwaite are difficult. Matthias de Ligt could be an option. United haven't given up hope either on Lenny Euro, according to Pleddygold. So some players to keep an eye out on there. I've no surprise, really. I've no surprise in that, because I think Everton are going to try and milk every penny they can get, because they won't want to lose Onana and Branthwaite. But realistically, they're not in a position to be able to hold out. You know, they need that money by the end of June. You've got Branthwaite back in the UK, back in holiday now. You can get that deal done pretty quickly. Potentially already agreed terms as well. Gehi, no. Um, I like Gehi, but not for 65 million, as what Palace are allegedly looking. I can't justify that kind of expense, and I feel like his price will just go up at the Euros as well. England should go pretty far in this tournament, and if he is playing for England in every match, then yeah, his price is just going to skyrocket. Matthias Tillett is a good captain type. Yeah, just a bit injury prone for me. Never really kicked on, but there's still a player in there. He's 24 years old somehow, which is kind of insane. He's 24 and he played for Ajax against us in the Europa League final 7 years ago. Jungi's down there looking for new friends. Okay, it's a bit of a weird one. I'm gonna take that one off. Born as well. There we go. That's better. Born says this does make sense replacing Varane with Branthwaite. I think it does. Like, he's not. I just think like Varane. Yeah, that's chapter's done, and I think you got to move towards different types of players. To be honest, Xavi will probably go to PSG if he don't go on loan. Yeah, I don't get Xavi Simons. He left PSG because he couldn't get into the team. There was no opportunities for him. Went to PSV, did really well, and then re-signed again for PSV, and then he got a time. What did I do? Yeah, just time them out. Just spam messages, buddy. Like, it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, we're talking football. Like, we're not talking about making friends and older men. Like, what have I got? Anyway, I'll have a look at the poll. Let me check that there real quick. 49 votes so far. We have 65% going to go for yes. Branthwaite would be the first choice. 24% saying no, and 10% are saying they are unsure at this moment in time. Look, I think he's the right guy to go for. I think it's the right move to make, and I think if we do make it, I think it would be very smart to do it. Yeah, I mean, I was like halfway through reading the message. I just like read out all the comments, and then I was like, oh no, I'll just delete this here. I'll just delete this. Anyways, difficult negotiations for Everton. It's going to be about waiting them out, and it'll be the same for whoever tries to buy Amadi Onana, be it us or be it someone else. They're just going to try wait them out because Everton are going to have to pay a lot of money back by the end of June. That's going to affect them. That hopefully gives a stronger hand to us in the negotiating room. So let's just see how that there one goes. Look, guys, I think what we'll do is just leave the stream for tonight. I think I might be live again tomorrow, so make sure to tune in for that there when if I am. I'll be live on Wednesday as well, and I'll probably be on the United Agenda as well on Wednesday night. So guys, thanks so much for that there one. Enjoy France-Austria. I know I am as well. I'm going to go stick it on here pretty soon. So all the best, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll catch everybody in the next one.